On this Rambler Sports Locker, the men and women's track team set new records while the men's volleyball team broke even against Grand Canyon University.
Also, RSL reporter Nick Schultz sat down with the women's golfer Elena Bowser, and Dylan Conover and his Ramble analysts discussed the future of the Cavs and the Celtics on this week's Rambler Sports Locker.
Welcome back to another edition of the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Diana Durr.
And I'm Tess Donlin. This past weekend, the men's volleyball team took on the Grand Canyon Antelopes in Gentile Arena in back-to-back matches. On Friday, Loyola had their first match against Grand Canyon University. The Ramblers came out of the gate strong with Jeff Jendrick getting 3 consecutive kills. They continued to play with that same momentum as the game progressed, as neither team ever led the game by more than 2 points. Unfortunately, the Ramblers fell short of a victory, losing to the Antelopes 27-25. After this heartfelt loss, the Ramblers were hungry for a victory and defeated Grand Canyon 25-21 in the second set. However, this was the only victory of the night for the Ramblers. The Antelopes won the next 2 sets to win the match 3-1. Grand Canyon was led by Cody Williams and Cullen Mosier, who both contributed 18 kills each, while Loyola's Colin Mahan led the team with a high of 16 kills. The Ramblers had a chance of redemption against Grand Canyon a day later in their last home game of the regular season. This game was senior night, where Jagger Kroner and Cole Murray got recognized. An inspired Loyola squad came out on top, defeating the Antelopes in 3 straight sets. The Ramblers were led by Mahan and Playstead, who both contributed 12 kills each. Loyola closes out of their regular season on Saturday, April 8th, when they take on the Ball State Cardinals in Muncie, Indiana.
The women's golf team spent their weekend in Peoria, Illinois, playing in the Bradley Spring Invitational. On Saturday, the Ramblers faced a 3-hour start time delay due to frost on the golf course. Once the Ramblers finally teed off, they were led by junior Summer Moser and sophomore Elena Bowser, who tied her 18-hole career low of 72. At the end of the day, Loyola as a team was tied for 4th place, and Bowser resided in a 5-way tie for 3rd place. The Invitational continued on Sunday, where the powerful duo of Moser and Bowser both secured top 15 spots on the individual leaderboard. As a team, Loyola finished in 8th place out of 11 teams. The Ramblers' regular season comes to an end this weekend when they travel to Indiana State for the Spring Invitational. As the women's golf team gets set for the MVC tournament, 1 golfer is in the running for all conference.
RSL reporter Nick Schultz sits down with Elena Bowser about her career in this week's Athlete Profile.
Sophomore Elena Bowser has been a force for the Loyola women's golf team this season. Boasting a 76.3 stroke average, she sits in 8th place individually on the Missouri Valley Conference leaderboard. Most college golfers have been playing competitively since they were young. However, Bowser started at a later age.
Basically, I started golfing competitively my freshman year of high school. I always grew up on the golf course. My brother played, my dad played, so I've always been around the game of golf, but I didn't take it seriously till mid-high school, and that's when I was okay, I really want to do something with this.
Bowser says her brother Evan has had a great impact on her. He played golf for 4 years at Oakland University, and she had some words of praise for him.
He's probably one of the greatest golfers that I know, that I've been able to watch, and I'm really lucky to have him so I can learn from him and what to do, what not to do. But yeah, he just recently turned professional, and so he's taking that up, and he just won his first professional event and then qualified for PGA Tour Canada for the summer, so that'll be exciting. I'm hoping to go and caddy for him.
With his pro status, Bowser says her brother can help her in a few aspects of her game.
He can help me with my swing, but it's more the mental part of the game that he's helped me with mostly. Just keeping me calm on the course. He's caddied for me in a couple tournaments in throughout the summers, but yeah.
Despite her brother's accomplishments, he's second on her list of favorite golfers to Tiger Woods.
His mental game is just unbelievable. His ability to block everything out when he's playing was just unreal. So I definitely looked up to that, and I realized that to zone everything else out on the course and just focus in on what's going on, the next shot.
For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Nick Schultz.
Loyola's track team traveled to Gainesville, Florida on Friday, March 31st to participate in the Pepsi Florida Relays, where the team set many new records. On the Ramblers' second day of competition, senior Jake Mazanke posted a new outdoor personal best time in the 800-meter run with 1 minute 48.98 seconds. Later, Mazanke was joined by sophomore LaRon Norton, junior Samuel Urban, and senior Jazz Hayes to achieve a season best time in the men's 4x400 meter relay, finishing at 3 minutes 14.20 seconds. The 4x400 event was a historic event for the women's team as well, when junior Brady Rodney, sophomore Natasha Simmons, and freshmen Kendall Wallace and Lindsay Walters joined together for a performance that merited them their season best time at 3 minutes 51.41 seconds, which cut almost 20 seconds off the previous best time for the Ramblers. Loyola will be competing next in the Redford Invitational this upcoming Saturday at Illinois State University.
The softball team hosted rival Wichita State this weekend. RSL reporter Dylan Conover has a recap of the games.
Thanks, Diana. The Ramblers came into their weekend series against the Shockers, a very different team than what we saw at the beginning of the season. After winning the first 14 games of their season, the team came into this series with a 6-game losing streak in conference play, and only getting wins in 3 of its last 12 games overall. The first 2 games against the Shockers did not go the Ramblers' way, losing 2-1 and 3-0. Solid pitching kept it close, but Loyola's conference losing streak extended to 8 games. In the third game, however, the Ramblers put that streak in the past with a 2-1 win. Neither team's pitcher gave the other team a lot of chances to score. The Shockers capitalized on an untimely wild pitch by Loyola sophomore Kylie Jones, taking a 1-0 lead, but the next inning, Loyola took away Katie Malone's bid for a shutout with an RBI single by senior second baseman Alyssa Minucci. Heading into the bottom of the 7th inning, both teams were deadlocked at 1-1 when senior outfielder Erica Nagel delivered a walk-off single, giving the Ramblers the decisive victory. The Ramblers pitchers have had the best earned run average in the MVC, so one may wonder how the team managed to lose its first 8 conference games. The answer is simple. The offense is not producing. In its first 16 games, the team averaged 5.4 runs per game, but in its last 16 games, just 1.4 runs. Whether this is just an offensive slump or what we should expect from the Ramblers remains to be seen. But if they want to make it to the conference tournament, the at-bats will need to produce more. The team has a chance to get the offense going again when it travels down to Illinois State University for a 3-game series over the upcoming weekend.
Thanks, Dylan. The softball team also faced rival Northsiders, the DePaul Blue Demons, on Tuesday. Loyola pitcher Keenan Dozel and DePaul pitcher Kayla Landvermeer battled it out on the mound as neither team had produced a hit in the first 3 innings. The Blue Demons pulled ahead in the 4th inning with 4 consecutive singles, leading the Ramblers 1-0. Loyola answered right back in the bottom of the inning when Jordan Cordell tied the game with an RBI groundout that scored Brooke Wilson. The Blue Demons regained their lead in the top of the 5th when Celeste Franco crossed home plate. The Ramblers fought until the last out, but were not able to outscore the Blue Demons. DePaul gets the win 2-1. The softball team travels to Normal this weekend, where they take on conference rivals, the Illinois State Redbirds.
Earlier this week, Clayton Custer was selected to the Division I AAA Athletics Directors Association Scholar Athlete Team. The redshirt sophomore was one of the 10 basketball players awarded this honor. Each nominee is required to have at least a 3.2 grade point average and have participated in at least half of the season's games. This past season, Custer was also awarded MVC Male Scholar Athlete of the Week 3 times and was a first-team MVC Men's Basketball Scholar Athlete pick. And now we bring it over to the Ramble desk where Dylan Conover and his Ramble analysts discuss the future of the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics.
Hi, welcome to this week's Ramble. I'm Dylan Conover. I'm joined this week by Henry Redmond and Tim Edmonds. Guys, basketball playoffs are approaching. 2 of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics, the 1 and 2 seed presumably going in. My question to you, if we look at both of these teams 5 years down the road, which team is going to be better off? Because they both look like they're here to stay for a while. Which one is going to be the face of the Eastern Conference in 5 years? Tim, I'll start with you.
I'm going to pick my Boston Celtics, number 1, because of the talented core they got in place. Isaiah Thomas is one of the top scorers in the Eastern Conference and the NBA as a whole. And they got the most draft capital of any team in the NBA. They got the Brooklyn picks the next 2 years. They're gonna be they're more valuable than any picks. That's the top pick going into the lottery this year.
So young core and a lot of picks coming up.
Tons of cap space too.
What about you, Henry?
Young core. In 5 years, their whole entire core will be over 30 years old. Isaiah Thomas will be 33. He will also, Al Horford will be old, very
He'll
old.
be old, yeah.
And then Kyrie Irving will be at his peak. He'll be 28.
So
No, he won't be.
you're
He'll be
saying
30.
the Celtics are just going to be older, but I mean you could easily spin that right on the Cavs. Kevin Love will be well past 30. LeBron James will be a shell of how he is now.
This is how I look at the Cavs in 5 years. They're going to be what the Spurs are now. You're going to have.
Give me a break on that one. Number one.
Wait. Let me finish.
Oh my God.
You're going to have a star, Kyrie. Kawhi, with an aging star rounding out as a role player, but that role player will be LeBron James.
All right, number one, Tyronn Lue he's no Brad Stevens. He's no Greg Popovich. Give me that. Jaylen Brown is going to become an all-star. I think we know that. Markelle Fultz, if they land the top pick,
Okay.
generational talent.
The
If they
draft is hit or miss.
get the top,
The
if they
draft
get
is
the top
so hit or
pick
miss.
next year, Michael Porter Jr. This team could be a
You don't know
juggernaut
those
going
guys-
forward,
you
or
don't know
they could
those
have
guys are
someone,
gonna pan
or they
out.
could have somebody
So
like
many
Jimmy
no-
Butler going forward.
if
This
they-
team is stacked. They could have so
So
many
many
options
draft
going
picks don't
forward.
pan out.
If I guess this question is for Henry. It could be for either of you, but it seems like unless you're the 76ers, the number one overall pick is usually a hit, especially in the last couple of years. The number one overall. So my question, Henry, is
But
if they're the best,
It's a lottery. You're not guaranteed.
it is a lottery. Yeah, you could
They're
always have
guaranteed to be in at least the top four.
You could
This
always
year's
have a
draft
Derrick Rose
is
situation.
4 people deep.
People miss with a lottery pick all the time. You're not guaranteed to
But
hit
this
in
is
the
the
draft.
deepest draft in years. It's the deepest draft since 2003. Even if you don't keep it and you trade it for someone like Jimmy Butler, you're still getting a franchise-changing player, and you have the cap space to go add an impact free agent. Kevin Durant could leave the Warriors, probably won't, but Gordon Hayward could come too. He could come and want to play with Brad Stevens. That team could be deadly going forward and better than the Cavaliers in the next 5 years, that's for sure.
I really disagree with that. I think that throughout LeBron's career, he's shown that he can transition his game. First time in Cleveland, he was the best athlete. In Miami, he was best all around. Now he's best mentally. He will transition his game to be the best leader on the floor and help the team win games still with a peak Kyrie Irving.
I think both teams, it's safe to say, will both be very good. But I think it's a little too guessy to just say they're going to be the Spurs of the East. I'm going to go with Tim again on this one. Younger core, and also you got to consider that the Cavs are going to have so much on the books. They're just going to be stuck with their dinosaurs by that point. So I think it's a safer bet to say that the Celtics are going to be the better team in 5 years. Overall, the Cavs might have more championships. That remains to be seen. But I'm going to go with Tim again on this one. Tim, you'll be back next week. Henry, thanks for coming out. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Dylan. I'm from Cleveland, so I'm a really big Cavs fan, and I don't think that the Cavs will have any issues in being a top competitor for the next 5 years, but that's just my opinion.
For our full episodes and the chance to get in on the conversation, follow and like our social media handles for an up-to-date look at all things Rambler Sports.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tess Donlin.
And I'm Diana Durr. Check back for next week for another episode of the Rambler Sports Locker.
And as always, don't forget to turn out the lights.